afternoon.
Todd, when you were hired, one of the things that you said was the attention to detail was slipping last year, and you wanted to really hone in on the attention to details. How has that message been received? And I would assume at 3 and 5, the details aren't being attended to your liking. Can you just speak to that?
Well, they've been attended to. You know, they're just being gasket blown on the field, or we're making a mistake here and there. The study and the effort is there. Certain guys do certain things, they got better. Certain guys study a lot and got worse. So we got to continue to work at that.
The fact that this team didn't make any moves on the trade deadline, does that speak to more of the fact that you believe in the guys that you already have here, or was this just not a good deal out there to be made?
I'm sure Jason's always looking to deal. We're always looking to get better, but if there's not a deal to be made, you don't go out there and reach for one.
Todd's first practice back after the long break. Did you see a different feel from the guys at all in terms of coming back refreshed, ready, that kind of thing?
Anytime you get a couple of days off, you're going to get a couple of guys back and you're going to get healed up a little bit. We understand we got to put in the work to study, but the energy is good.
Is Antoine Winfield still in concussion protocol?
Yes.
We saw Cam out there. Can you give us an update on him? How much progress has he made?
I mean, he's running around. He's not really out there practicing, but he is running around in gear, so he's making some progress.
Todd, you guys have been outscored in the third quarter, 34-18. What's happening after halftime on both sides of the ball where that is getting so lopsided for you guys over the last 5 games?
It's been third downs on both sides. You know, we're not converting no matter whether it's 3rd and 1 or 3rd and long, and we're not getting them off the field, whether it's missed tackles or busted assignment or otherwise. We're not getting off the field in the second half.
As far as Antoine Winfield Jr. goes, has he made progress? Where is he at in terms of?
He's making progress.
So is there any possibility he could be back in time to play this week?
See how the week goes.
Todd, you had said that during that break, coaches, you were just going to look at film, maybe make some tweaks. You weren't going to make any moves with coaches. Is there anything that stood out to you after taking the weekend to look at the film of where you guys are now?
We understand where we can get better at as coaches as we watched it. We understand the tweaks that we want to make, and we're working at that this week.
Todd, if Winfield couldn't go, we hadn't seen Murphy Bunting working at nickel. Obviously, he has a long history there. Could he come back and play nickel, or would you stick with him as an outside corner?
It's possible. You know, we mix the guys up a little bit depending on how we're going to play. He's played it before. D's played it. Mike's played it. Zion's even played it. So we're going to continue to monitor it during the week and see how everybody's feeling.
Todd, when you watch him, Cooper Kupp is continuing to get his catches this year after the huge year last year. What is it about him that enables him to get open? What does he do well? What do you see?
He does everything well. I mean, he blocks, he runs routes, he's outside, he's inside, he's in the backfield, he's in the line of scrimmage, he's in motion. He throws passes, he catches the ball. He's a very intelligent player. He has a lot of savvy, very athletic player as well. Has good size, you know, that goes unnoticed when he's blocking, but he has good size to get on you. And, you know, he's one of them rare players that comes around every couple years, but he's a great player.
Jamel had told us on Monday that you guys were kind of getting back to the basics and focusing a little more on fundamentals with this extra time. How much did you feel like your team was lacking in that area, or was that just kind of part of the reset process?
I think you always need it. It's part of the reset process, and sometimes you get away from it as the season goes, and some of the things on film showed the fundamentals were missing in certain guys, whether it was a missed tackle or filling the alley the right way, so we got back to some fundamentals.
Todd, you spent some time this offseason really kind of studying the Rams and Saints, teams that have had your number over the last couple of games for sure. You were able to solve the Saints in week 2. What did you see in terms of a common denominator, looking back at some of those Rams losses that maybe might benefit you now, or do you have a better handle on this team going forward?
I don't know if what you've seen. I think they executed better than us down the stretch. I think they executed certain situational football things better than we did at the time when we played them. So hopefully we'll get better at that when we play them this time.
Some of those breakdowns defensively, are guys trying to make up for other players by, you know, trying to do too much instead of kind of staying to their position?
When there is a breakdown, it's just a breakdown. They're not trying to do too much. You know, they've run it 1,000 times. It's just a brain fart here or there, and we got to get better at that.
You mentioned going back and looking at the tape and kind of self-scouting. I noticed you guys aren't doing as much cover zero as maybe you did last year. It's not something you do a whole lot anyway, but is that just based on the opponents that you faced or the personnel that you have?
Based on the opponent and the protection schemes as far as that's concerned, but it's always in the game plan. It's just a matter of whether it gets called.
Coach,
Well,
what's going to get you out of this? In other words, when you lose 2 or 3 in a row, confidence is always an issue, right? So when you talk to your team, we know where you're at in the NFC South. It's still a division that's up for grabs. There's still 9 games left. So what do you think in general will tell your players how you get out of this?
Just accountability to each other. You know, they're out on the field together, understanding how to prepare and doing things the right way. We're all in this boat together. Nobody's pointing fingers or anything else. The only thing that can get out of it is ourselves. You know, we start making a play here or there, it becomes contagious. So we got to keep working at that. And, you know, that's what football is. You got to go out and believe and make plays. And it comes with the little things. We do the little things right, the big things will come.
Are guys holding each other accountable out there on the field? Because
All the
there's only so
time.
much you can do as coaches.
All the time.
Todd, what makes Sean McVay so difficult to scheme against? Because it was mentioned the past struggles against this Rams team. I would imagine he has to play a big part in that.
No, he does. He's the head coach. You know, it's his offense, and they have a very good offense. He has a very good scheme that he runs. He's a very intelligent guy. They can do power running. They can do edge running. They can do boot, quick game. They have deep game. They have a lot of guys that are very smart players. They do a very good job with the offensive line. They have some big guys down there. They protect each other very well. It just makes it tough to play when you have a signal caller that tries to keep you off balance all the time.
Todd, how frustrating the lack of takeaways on defense been for you guys now over the last month?
It's always frustrating when you don't get takeaways. You know, that's what we try to do all the time. I think part of the issues of helping us score is getting in takeaways on defense. So we got to continue to work at that, and hopefully they come in bunches.
Todd, it's been a long time since a lot of these players have gone through this many losses over a stretch. Is there anything that stands out to you about, you know, what they're going through and just that how to get over this hump? Do you worry about, you know, if they continue to mount that you may be losing some of these players' attention?
No, not at all. It's adversity. You know, you go through that in life. You go through that in football. You know, it's how you come out of it and react towards it, which makes you a better player and a better person.
Coach Bowles, do you think this week, knowing that the players have that bad taste in their mouth against the Rams, that could serve as maybe something that's just added motivation?
I think we have a bad taste in our mouth the last 3 weeks. We don't have time to worry about the bad taste of the Rams. We're trying to win a ball game, and that's all we're worried about.
How critical is this week to win?
They're all critical, you know. They're all critical. We lost 3 in a row, like she said, and you got to get the next one in to feel better about yourself.
I know you want to get better everywhere. Red zone offense has been a struggle, and it's one of the things the Rams defense does best is stop in the red zone. How crucial is that when you get those opportunities to do a better job of converting?
It's critical because they don't come often. You know, when you get down there, you want 7 points. You never want 3. You can settle for 3 here and there, but you try to get 7 points. And obviously, we're working at that, and we're working on defending the red zone as well.
They're not running the ball very successfully, much like yourselves. And they have come in here sometimes and just thrown it on almost every down. How much pressure does that put on your defense? Is it difficult to substitute? Like what problem does that cause with a team that just is going to keep it in the air all the time?
It's not difficult to substitute, and they do run the ball against us. If you look up the stats, they get in a good 20-plus runs a game on us, and they keep you off balance that way. But a throwing team doesn't make it any more difficult. We just got to make more plays.
Todd, you brought back a couple of familiar faces, Tyler Johnson, Ryan Smith. How can they help this team going down the stretch?
Understanding the scheme is important. Obviously, they can do that. Ryan's a heck of a teams player, so if we need somebody to step up on teams, he was a great gunner when he was here before, and he looks like he's in great shape now, and Tyler knows all 3 spots on the offense with the 3 receiving spots, so if someone goes down, we don't have to plug in just a Z or an X or an S. We can plug in Tyler, and he can kind of move people everywhere, so it'll help if it comes up.
Do you feel fortunate that he was available, having a guy like that? I know there's such an onus on the trade deadline and making a move, but to have a guy that knows the system, can play all those spots, and really was released because of special teams ability, to be able to pick him up mid-season like this?
It was important. Like I said, we liked them in the summer. And bringing in a new guy to learn the system would have took a few more weeks, so we needed a guy that already knew the system.
Speaking of newer receivers, how are Keelan Geiger and Devin Tompkins developing in the practice squad for you?
They give our defense a tough time. They come along well. They're quick, they're tough, they got sure hands, and, they're just waiting their turn.
Todd, the rushing struggles have been well documented, but there's a growing narrative that maybe you guys have to run more to get out of the funk. Is that something you guys are thinking about, that maybe you need to commit more to the run in an area where you guys are struggling?
You like to say that, but if they got 9 guys up there, you're going to have to throw the football. So we're going to take what they give us, but we're definitely going to try to run it more.
Not sure if Akeem Hicks is back this week, but how much of a difference can he make if he's back in your lineup?
He was big before he got hurt. He's practicing this week. We'll see what kind of shape he's in at the end, but he'll make a difference because he was one of our better players. So anytime you get a better player back, it helps with depth, number one, so we can sub guys and keep them a little fresher. At the same time, he can carry his own. He's a load, and he'll be tough to deal with.
Speaking of one of your better players, a guy that's had double-digit sacks multiple times in his career, Shaq Barrett, just not having him, how much more challenging does that make things for you guys in terms of pressure?
It does from a schematic standpoint. Shaq demanded double teams, and that freed up everybody else and got people free. So we have to do some things now to scheme up some pressure if we're not getting there, and make other guys accountable for certain places and play the guy's strengths.
Having a guy like Carl Nassif, the presence of him, the fact that he came in knowing the scheme and things like that, and has started before. I know Anthony Nelson's going to be stepping into his role, but just having a guy like that's available as well, how much does that help?
It helps to have him in. When he was here before, the scheme was slightly different. And he's a different kind of Sam or Will than Shaq. So we just got to make sure we keep continuing to do the things that Carl can do well, and Nelson can do well, and Joe can do well, and not put them in Shaq's shoes with some of the things that he can do.
Todd, you got a couple of undrafted free agents backing up Devin White and Levante David. Can you just talk about the growth of those two players, and Fadokazi and Russell, and your confidence level in them if one of those two were to go down and they'd have to step in?
Fadokazi's tough. He's not as athletic as the other two that's starting, but he knows the mic and the mo spot. He knows multiple positions. He's a very tough, hard-nosed player, very smart player, understands the scheme well, so we understand if he has to play what we have to do. JJ is very athletic. He helps on teams. He's more of a mo linebacker and a nickel linebacker. So if he has to play, he can cover. He can move side to side, and he's tough in the run game as far as filling gaps up. So we have a plan if we have to use them and try to play to their strengths.
Okay, thanks, Coach.
Thanks, Coach.
Yeah.